How hard is it to catch 5 tournament caliber bass with no help, no practice on a public body of water? Let's find out. Today I'm on Beaver Lake in northwest Arkansas. It's the middle of April, and water temperatures are between 55 and 60 degrees, depending on the part of the lake you're in. Beaver Lake is one of the hardest lakes I fish for these Catch 15 challenges. To give you some perspective, here are some tournament results from an FLW Tour event in 2015 during the exact same week in April I'm fishing this week. In that event, there are only 4 bags weighed in over 15 pounds among the top 10 anglers. That is really tough fishing, and in general, catching 15 pounds on Beaver Lake will get you in the top 2 or 3 spots in any tournament, any time of the year. Another challenge I face is the weather. We're currently in post-front conditions, and it was 27 degrees this morning. The fish are getting ready to spawn, and so this cold front is definitely going to get the fish in a weird mood and may knock some fish out of the shallower water just a little bit deeper. I'm going to have to adjust my strategies and my baits and presentations to account for these post-front conditions, but hopefully we can still figure out how to put some good fish in the boat.
Got him. Good one. There we go. Oh, stay on there, fish. That is awesome right there, guys. First fish of the day right here on the old swing head. Get up here, nice keeper. That's what I'm talking about. Found some rock piles out here, guys, on a secondary point. Didn't see any fish on them with the fish finder, and my hunch is that these guys out here, so many boats on the lake today, are overlooking these shallow rock piles that don't show fish on the fish finder, but actually have some on them. So pretty good start to the day. Throwing a little swing head here with a striking menace grub. I'll break down everything I'm doing here as we get into it, but let me get this guy weighed. That is awesome. There we go, guys. Nothing crazy, just a 2-pounder to start the day, but a 2-pounder on Beaver Lake is not bad by any means. Normally 5 fish for 10 pounds will get you close to the top 10 in any tournament out here. So right now, if I can just get 5 of these in the boat, I'll be really happy, but I'm going for 15 pounds. So we're in for a challenge today, but that is a great start right there. Beautiful fish. Let's get him back down there. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Got that fish on a 3/4 ounce swing head with a Strike King Menace grub in the green pumpkin color. And what I'm doing here, guys, is fishing an offshore rock pile, and I'll show you here on my side imaging what it looks like. It's very subtle, doesn't look like much, and if you graph over it with 2D sonar, down imaging, things like that, you're not going to see any fish on this rock pile. What happens is that the fish will get so tight to those rocks that they won't be visible, and I actually made a video talking about this that I'll link right here that you can check out that explains the whole concept of these hidden fish in these rock piles. And all I'm doing right now, guys, is lining up on these rock piles using the waypoints here on my Lowrance unit, and then I'm also using my 360 imaging here on my Humminbird. Not really using the live scope, though I have it on. Now I'm just firing out on these offshore rock piles with this heavy swing head. And what I'll do is let that bait get down there to the bottom, and I'm going to basically slowly reel in my bait while trying to maintain bottom contact. And that fish ate it as soon as it hit that rock pile. So we're off to a good start here, and hopefully we should be able to put some good fish in the boat if we can replicate this pattern throughout the rest of this lake. Got him. Good one. Stay on the fish. Changed up to the swim bait here. I was seeing a few fish that were suspended off the bottom, and I thought maybe if I went to a swim bait over these rock piles, I could get another fish to bite. And There we go, another one right there, beautiful little fish. I think that's a keeper. I'll throw him on the board just to make sure. There's a second fish here now out of a rock pile. Had to fish a couple before I got this bite, but it seems like when I get around one, I'll catch him first cast, second cast in there. That's just a little megabass spark shad on a 5/16 ounce weedless jewel swim bait head, and reeling it down there really slow. Got me another fish. Oh yeah, nice line burner right there. Got his nose on the board, barely touching 15, but I will take it right there. Even though he barely made it, it's all we need. And they're a 2-pounder right there, same weight as the last fish. So we have two 2-pounders in the boat, basically 2 15-inchers, nothing crazy, but I am liking the fact that I've only been fishing this pattern for a few minutes, maybe about 45 minutes, and I have 2 fish in the boat, had one other bite. We are on to something, guys. Get that fish back down there. There we go. Awesome. So basically what we have here, guys, is another rock pile right in front of the boat. Again, I'll show you on side imaging what it looks like. There was actually some bait fish around this rock pile when I graphed it earlier too on down imaging, though I didn't see any fish again. Really, again, it's just this situation where these bass are in these rocks and they're not visible on the fish finder, but they're still down there. And the reason I think they're actually setting up on these rock piles in that 8 to 12 foot range is because if we take a look at the spot from a drone view, you can see there's a bunch of shallow bushes around this island. And these shallow bushes are where these bass are going to end up spawning. But right now, the water temperatures are 56 degrees. And we've had 3 or 4 really cold nights in a row in the low 30s, maybe even high 20s, which is very unseasonable for the end of April. And I think that's pushed a lot of these fish off of these shallower banks onto these rock piles and kind of kept them from spawning. There may also have been some fish that already spawned this year. They're setting up here post-spawn as well. So we have a combination of a great pre-spawn and post-spawn area, which just means a lot of fish are coming to this spot, and it gives me a lot of opportunities to put fish in the boat. If these fish are going to move up, they probably are going to do it on one of these warmer days. So if I was fishing, let's say in a couple of days, this pattern might not be working, and I may just have to go flip those bushes. But right now, because of this cold front, these fish have pulled just off the end of these bushes into a little bit deeper water around these rocks, and I'm putting them in the boat. Now I'm fishing this megabass 3-inch spark shad in a very similar way to how I was throwing that swing head. I'm throwing this on a Denali Covert Light 7'2" medium heavy action spinning rod with a 10-pound braided line main line and a 6-pound Sunline FC Sniper leader that's probably 30 feet long. I'm just casting this bait out there again on that 5/16 ounce head around those rock piles, and because I'm only fishing in 6 to 10 feet of water, I'm just letting it sink for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and I'm slowly winding it back to the boat. With this bait, I'm actually trying to keep it 2 or 3 feet above the rock so it's not getting caught up in there, and then I'm probably going to switch back to that swing head here in a minute and fish down in the rocks to see if there's fish that are tighter to the bottom. I like to try to give these fish a couple different approaches when I figure out a pattern that's working, and I'll rotate between these 2 baits, the swing head and the swim bait, depending on the area I'm fishing, and hopefully that'll help me pick up an extra fish or 2 when I get to these spots. It's always good to experiment, try different baits, different retrieves whenever you get on a spot like this or a pattern like this, because you can definitely put 1 or 2 extra fish in the boat, and out here on Beaver, that can be the difference between putting a limit in the boat and not having a great day. So hopefully we can keep it up here.
After catching my first 2 keepers, I tried to replicate this rock pile pattern in other areas of the lake. I graphed 2 or 3 other creeks, found 10 to 15 rock piles and fished them, but never caught another keeper. My hunch is that the fish that were moving off the bank into those rock piles because of the post-front conditions were already moving back to shallower water because the sun was out and it was getting into the 60s in terms of air temperature. Therefore, I decided to make a move up shallow to a little bit more stained water that hopefully was holding more heat, and try to find some shallow water bass that are holding tight to cover.
Got a good one. There we go. Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there, guys. Deep dive app, pulling off again. Oh my gosh. Black and blue jig in a laydown, channel swing bank, back half of a creek, black and blue jig I'll show you guys on the screen here what I'm talking about. I literally pulled up the deep dive app because I was struggling to get a pattern going offshore, and so I wanted to come up here shallow and I had no idea what to look for. I'm not a shallow water guy, so I pulled up the deep dive app, again backed by real tournament results, what guys have caught fish on in tournaments before. And I just pulled up the app, saw the flippin' jig bite in there, black and blue flippin' jig. That is crazy, guys. I've done this 2 fishing trips in a row now, pulled out the app, and it is happening. That is a beautiful fish right there on the laydown, and he just crushed it. It's the little 11/16 ounce jewel tactical flipping jig with a striking radar on the back, black and blue. Gotta get the deep dive app, guys. I am telling you, it helps you figure out the best patterns on your lake. It eliminates a lot of possibilities so you can be fishing the right baits in the right areas. Gosh, cannot believe that. That's so cool. There we go, guys. 3 pounds, 12 ounces, 3 3/4 pounder. Beautiful fish right there. That is what I'm talking about, guys. Let me get this guy locked in real quick. That gives us 3 fish now for a total of 7 pounds, 13 ounces. I just need 2 more bites on this jig up shallow here, guys, and we are going to complete this challenge. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, beautiful fish right there. Let's get this big guy back down there. Nice pre-spawn bass on the flipping jig, guys. Just flipping this on 20-pound Sunline FC Sniper fluorocarbon, 7'6" heavy action, worm and jig rod by Denali, Abu Garcia Black Max reel. Using the deep dive app, guys, to find these key patterns. Perfect laydown right there. I mean, I could have called my shot on that. Not that many laydowns here in the back half of these creeks, so I'm probably going to have to bounce a bunch of different areas to find more spots just like this. But if I can just get 2 more laydowns to produce a fish, guys, we are going to be in business. We're going to complete this challenge. So here's that laydown right in front of me where I just caught that nice fish. And I actually checked this spot on Google Earth probably about a year ago, and I marked it as a channel swing bank. One thing I like to do on Google Earth, especially on lakes I fish quite often, is to actually go in and mark all the channel swing banks, good looking rock areas. And that's actually how I found a lot of the rock piles I was fishing earlier today too, is using a version of Google Earth when the lake was drawn down. I have a whole video explaining exactly how to do that, taking the lake down Google Earth and finding these key stretches. And it was super helpful to pair my information from Google Earth about where this channel swing bank was specifically with the deep dive app telling me to go check out the channel swing bank. And then obviously I'm using the jig that it recommended and put that fish in the boat. I'm not doing anything really fancy here, guys. I'm actually just flipping down this steep bank. I actually flipped down the entire other side of this creek here. Never got a single bite on the sunny side. And I came down this side over here, which is the little bit shadier side. It didn't really seem to make a difference that it was sunny or shady because I caught the fish on the shady side. Maybe it would have even been better fishing on the shady side. I'm not really sure. Water temps here are 56, 57 degrees, so not warm water temperatures by any means. That cold front, post front conditions definitely brought that water temperature down, but these fish are just pulling these little bit steeper banks around some of these laydowns and stuff and just getting ready before they move a little bit shallower and spawn up there.
After catching that 3-pounder, I started looking for more laydowns on channel swing banks in the back half of creeks. I caught 4 or 5 short fish that I assume were male bass, missed a few fish, and actually had a 3 or 4 pounder follow up my jig from underneath a boat dock. I pulled it away from the dock a little bit too fast and saw the entire fish. It was definitely a big missed opportunity and would have put me close to 15 pounds. I started slowing down from there, but really wasn't able to get any quality fish in the boat, just a lot of small male bass. Again, my hunch is that these fish were a little bit deeper earlier in the day and were starting to move shallow, but I just don't think that there were that many quality fish that had moved up to the bank. They were kind of caught in the middle. Some were probably still a little bit deeper, a few were shallow, and some may have just been just suspended off the bank. Therefore, I decided to try to change up my approach and start cranking down some wind-blown banks a little bit further off the bank in that 4 to 8 foot range to see if I could put more fish in the boat.
Got him. Here we go. Stay on there, fish. One hook on him. Let's keep her spot too. Stay on there, fish. Here we go. Spotted bass, called the audible. Could not get the jig bite going, guys. I caught 4 shorts, watched the guy catch a 4-pounder on another laydown right by me, but just couldn't get any good ones in the boat in about 2.5 hours more of flipping. So I have about 30 minutes left in the day here, and let me get spot lock on. There we go, and the wind started kicking it in the back of this creek, and so I thought I might be able to pull a few fish off of a crankbait on a channel swing bank here, just some chunk rock, just a pound 10-ounce spotted bass. These just have to be 12 inches long. Kind of lucky for me, so I get number 4 in the boat here. We still have enough time to put 5 in the boat. I would love that jig bite to be working, and I'll explain a little bit here at the end why I kind of struggled to get it to work, or maybe as I'm cranking down this bank. But for now, let's get this guy back down in the lake. Got 9 pounds for 4 fish. Got to get one more in the boat at least to get our limit. Got about 30 minutes left to do it. Let's get after it. Got him. Good one. Stay on the fish. There we go. There we go. Spotted bass. It's a keeper right there. Number 5. Man, fish in the moment. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Another one on the rock crawler right there. That is 3 different patterns to get my 5 fish in the boat. It is literally right now 6:54. I had to fish till 7. I started my day at 11 o'clock so I could fish all the way till 7, and that is number 5 right there. Let me get this guy weighed. 1 pound, 14 ounces. Another solid, almost 2-pounder right there. Beautiful fish, great fish for beaver, to be honest. That puts my 5 fish total at 11 pounds, 5 ounces. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go, guys. Let's get this fish back down the lake. That is what I am talking about. 5 fish in the boat. Took me every last second of the day. I had to audible multiple times. Went from fishing offshore rock piles to fishing some shallow jig fish on laydowns, then throwing the rock crawler. Super windy out here, so I'm going to head back to the boat ramp, and I'll give you guys a recap once I get there.
I didn't have time to film the recap before it got dark, and this video is already pretty long as it is, so I'm going to leave it here, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, and also subscribe to the Fishing Moment YouTube channel for more Catch 15 challenges just like this. Thanks again for checking out the video. We'll see you on the next one.